All right, so today we're going to be talking about straight time pay, sometimes also most commonly called hourly pay, right? A lot of jobs you work, you get paid a certain number of dollars per hour. And so to figure out what your straight time pay, what your gross income is going to be, you just kind of take your hourly rate, whatever your wages are, and you're going to take that times the number of hours worked. I have the equation there on the screen. And so once again, really easy. Straight time pay is equal to hourly rate times the number of hours worked. Whether you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, that's every 2 weeks. It works the same either way. The If you wanted to figure out what the hourly rate is, that's pretty easy. The hourly rate will be equal to the straight time pay. Let's just call that STP to save some time. Whatever it is your straight time pay is divided by the number of hours worked. Okay, so that's our hourly rate there. If you want to know how many hours you need to work, let's say you know your hourly rate and you're trying to figure out, you know how much pay you want in that paycheck. If you want to know what the number of hours worked is, that will be equal to the straight time pay divided by the hourly rate. Right? And that's just kind of middle school algebra 1 stuff there. In order to, if you wanted to get hourly rate by itself, hourly rate is being multiplied by the number of hours worked. So to get hourly rate by itself, you just do the opposite. The opposite of multiplying by number of hours worked is dividing by number of hours worked. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. Or if you're looking for the number of hours, it's also being multiplied by hourly rate. The opposite of that is dividing by hourly rate. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So now we can go into, we have a couple, we have 2 practice problems I want to go through. The first is up in the top left corner there. Jimmy makes $16 per hour at his job. 1 week he works 36 hours. The next week he works 24 hours. And the question then is, what is Jimmy's gross income for the 2 weeks? All right, so now we'll go back looking at that question there. Jimmy makes $16 per hour. All right, $16 per hour. That is his hourly rate. That is 16. So it then says he works 36 hours and in 1 week and 24 hours the next week. We could figure out the pay for each week and then add them together, or we could just figure out the number of hours worked for both weeks together. So it is 36 plus 24. I won't need the calculator for that one. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry the 1. 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's 60 hours. Let's use a lowercase h for hours because I also teach science. All right. Then we can figure out what the actual answer to the problem is. So to figure out the straight time pay is going to be equal to the hourly rate, the $16, times the number of hours worked, the 60 hours. So $16 an hour times 60 hours. I'm going to need the calculator for that one. So let's go 16 times 60. And that equals 900 and $60. So Jimmy's take home pay for those 2 weeks together, $960. Almost made it to like full time, 40 hours that first week. Maybe had doctor's appointments, maybe had vacation that second week, worked less. So that would be his paycheck if he gets paid for those 2 weeks. So now we could go through and ask another question. Let's go right there. That's not going to work for me, is it? So we're going to do things a little bit differently. You get to peek behind the curtain a little bit here because I didn't think about changing that around. All right, so question 2 now. Jane wants to make $1,000 with her next paycheck. If she has an hourly wage of $14, how many hours would she need to work to earn that amount? So now when we read this one, Jane wants to make the $1,000. That's her straight time pay. She wants to make $1,000 with her next paycheck. It tells us that the hourly wage, or the hourly rate, right? Wage and rate are the same thing, is $14. So in this question, they want to know what the hourly, how many hours she'll need to work is. So if we come up here, they're looking for the number of hours. So number of hours is equal to the straight time pay divided by the hourly rate. I'm even going to write that down here. So the number of hours is equal to the straight time pay divided by the hourly rate. At this point, we just need to plug in what we know. The straight time pay is $1,000. So $1,000 goes there. That's being divided by the hourly rate, which we said was $14 an hour. So now when we do our math, which that's a little much for me to do in my head anyway, it'll be 1,000 divided by 14. And we get this really fun answer of 71. And we get that big long decimal there. Let's just call that 0.4 hours. So she'll need to work close to, 35, 36 hours a week minimum for both weeks. Work a little bit more one week, work a little bit less one week. But this is also just looking at hourly rate. We're not looking at overtime or anything, or bonuses, commission. We're not looking at anything like that yet. We're just looking at, you get paid hourly. How would that work out? Otherwise, it's a nice, easy 3-variable equation. There we go. So we can see a straight time pay is equal to the hourly rate times the number of hours worked. If you have questions about any of that, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, you guys, good luck.